Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. If you probably know right about now, New Japan continues with day 2 of New Japan Seoul. As you all know, there'll be preliminary matches involving some big events at the Tanahashi Jam, which will happen later on this month. So we'll see how things will progress from there. And of course, TNA, as you probably know, they have a very interesting main event, the Champions Challenge. So basically, all champions, most specifically the men's, will be challenging against challengers. We have, of course, Moose, our current X Division champion, the Menace Brothers, the tag champions. What's his name? Oh yeah, Trick Williams, our current world champion, and of course Steve Macklin. They face, of course, the Rascals, Elijah, Joe Hendry, and Leon Slater. So this is going to be a fun match as well to enjoy. And then we move on, of course, Ring of Honor, various matches, of course. We're definitely going to go through A through Z on this one. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And as always, we will, of course, cap up our episode, as always, with news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Lead Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Lead Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us, so click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let's begin. So, let's start with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okie dokie, so let's begin with New Japan Pro Wrestling as we are in day 2 of New Japan Seoul 2025. So let's begin. They started out, of course, with the Young Lions. We have Zane J versus Tatsuya, what's his name again? Oh yeah, Matsumoto. Now, if you guys remember the last time on day 1, these two wrestled each other. In this match, it ended in a 10-minute time limit draw. But the real question is, will one of these gentlemen will be able to pick up the pace? I have to say, watching this match, Zane J seems like the one who had the entire match under control, even though, of course, Matsumoto seems like he was trying to endure the pain at any way possible in order not to lose, his own sanity of whatever pain that, of course, Zane was intending to use. But unfortunately, this match ended in another time limit draw. So sooner or later, one of these two gentlemen will pick up the win. But the real question is, when will that happen? So we'll see when that day comes. Now, let's move on, of course, with the experienced young lions. We have Daiki Nagai and Masatora Yasuda. So basically, last time these two faced off was in day one. Well, this Nagai was the one who picked up the win. But this time, what was surprisingly, you probably ask yourselves, if you lose a match and you learn from this mistakes, you can actually overcome it. So basically, that's what Yasuda did. He basically learned his mistakes from what happened between him and the guy. He actually used the Boston Crab on him, and just like that, he picked up his win against him. So it's a very fantastic learning experience for him to do. So just like that, he won by tap out, and it's over. Next up, we have, of course, Katsuya Murashima, another young lion, along with his classmate Shomakato. They team up with Master Wato, Yo, and Toroyanu, taking on the House of Losers. Yeah, that's right. Once again, they're dealing with the House of Torture. Yoshinobu Kanemaru, the traitor Doki, the piece of garbage Sho, the idiot Yujiro Takahashi, and of course the much bigger idiot Ren Narita. So basically, you know how these guys are operate when it comes. The House of Torture will do whatever it takes. Not to mention Sho with his usual, stupid, talk about how tough they are. They're not tough. They're just a bunch of losers because they rather cheat than win actually. But of course, Doki once again whacked, was this time Murashima on the leg with his little pipe, and then of course it was Narita that put him in a submission. But of course, Wado and Yo were not happy how this results happened. Once again, the tactics of the House of Losers continue to be played. Sooner or later, their luck is about to run out. I'm sure Yo and Wado are trying to find a way to overcome that obstacle, because Sho continues to claim that they're tough. No, they're not. Like I said, they're a bunch of losers. That's what they are. Now, the other losers of the House of Losers, we have Sanada, Don Fale, Chase Owen, and of course, the biggest scum of them all, Evil, along with, of course, that dirtbag Dick Togo. They face against Yado, Togi Makabe, Yoshihashi, and Bolton Oleg. So, of course, we were going to see the same usual tactics coming from House of Torture. But however, once again, Sanada decided to play coy. He decided to fake a kick low blow into the groin. He blamed it on Yado. And of course, Yado, we know he didn't do it. And it was really messed up. Sooner or later, if Sanada decides to play that game, well, if I was Yado, the next time you meet this guy and he decides to play that game, just kick him in the balls, because it will be worth it, knowing that he should have just not played that game at all. And then if he doesn't want, if he wants to still play that game, do it again, do it again, do it again. That's what I would do. Now, our next match, we have the United Empire, consisting of Jacob Austin Young, Cal Newman, and Grado Khan, taking on Tiger Mask, Shota Umino, and Taichi. So, as you probably remember, Taichi did defeated both Grado Khan and Cal Newman for the IWGP Tag Team belt, along with Tomohiro Ishii. I'm sure Grado Khan and Newman haven't forgotten how they lost those belts, but sooner or later they probably will do whatever it takes to get them back. But in the meantime, it was Umino who picked up the win by pinning Jacob Austin Young, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now moving on to our semi-main event, we have Ryosuke Taguchi, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on the War Dogs, consisting of Geto, Drilla Maloney, and Gabe Kidd. And now remember, this one has a preliminary match between Gabe Kidd and Tanahashi for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. So you probably guessed that this is going to be who was going to pick up the momentum. However, it was Taguchi who picked up the win when he applied an ankle lock on Geto, and just like that, Geto tapped out. But during the post-match, Drilla Maloney attacked Tomohiro Ishii, and this time he's declaring himself as the next challenger for the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship. So that could happen soon. So we'll see what happens. Now, our main event, we have TMDK, consisting of Harley Jackson, Rohei Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Tomoaki Hamna, Yuya Uemura, and Hiroki Goto. Now, you can say this is another preliminary match. Remember, Goto will be defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against former champion himself, Zack Sabre Jr. So that's going to be a very interesting match. However, this match ended with, of course, Yuya Uemura applying a the deadbolt suplex on Jackson, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, the Uemura picked up the win for his team. So it was a pretty good event. Can't wait to see what's going to happen on the next time. But for right now, let's move on to our next review, and this one is from TNA. All right, TNA. We opened up with Sami Callihan versus Eric Young. As you know, last time these guys got in each other's face, he was attacked not only by Eric Young, but also the Northern Armory, Travis Williams, and Judas Icarus. So this time they get to settle this in the ring. But however, as you probably can guess, once again, those idiots Tweedledee and Tweedledum decided to get involved. So basically, Travis Williams decided to show up, but unannounced, knowing the referee didn't notice. Judas Icarus whacked Sami Callihan with the chair, and just like that, Eric Young took the advantage by applying a pile driver onto him, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he picked up the win. But I think many of us would ask ourselves, would this be the end between both Sami and Eric Young? Well, I would like to say that maybe, just maybe, Sami will get his retribution towards, of course, Eric Young. So we just gotta wait and see what happens. Now, we did see an interview with Gia Miller talking to the challengers, as you know, Joe Hendry, Elijah, Leon Slater, and of course the Rascals. So they basically gave their comments about their upcoming main event, the Champions Challenge. So basically, they all talked about Moose, who they have no love for, the Menace brothers, including Trick Williams, and what about Steve Macklin, who neither have a problem with, but they're like, look, even though he's a champion, we have no choice but to fight him. That's all we have to do. So that's pretty much, they're willing to accept that there's nothing they can do about that. Now, we did see, of course, in the ring, the Order of 4 Summit. As you know, recently there's been a lot of things been going on. Mustafa Ali once again goes out on his way, tries to question everybody's motives. As you know, he started out with Tasha Steelz. Tasha Steelz, as you know, last time she was on the phone with someone that we don't know who it is. And then, of course, Jason Hodge, as you know, Mustafa Ali decided to be disrespectful for it, but Jason Hodge saying, I'm the one who's being a man by leading by example to show my wife and daughter that I can stand up for all women. But however, Mustafa Ali reminded him that he's the one who paid for his mortgage, you know what I mean? And of course, John Skyler, as you know, first he was enduring what he was watching. However, now he's starting to see that Mustafa Ali once again is losing it. So looks like cracks are building up in the Order of 4. But the real question is, how long will it last? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Now, our next match, we have, once again, the Ellis Gimbrants, Ash and Heather, along with M and that Chihuahua, taking on Li Yang Lee and Masha Savage. Now, the match seems like it was going great from the moment, but however, Killer Kelly showed up, provided a distraction, allowing for Ash by Elegance to pick up the win onto Masha Savage, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Ash by Elegance decided to get an opportunity of the TNA Knockouts World Title, but if I were her, steer clear from that, because there's one person who definitely will love nothing more to get her hands on that title, and that is Killer Kelly. Now, while that thing the match took place in the backstage, we did see the Inspiration, Jesse McKay, and of course, Cassidy Lee were watching this up close. So basically, as you know, they are targeting the Knockouts World Tag Team Champions, Ash by Elegance. So basically, they're reclaiming what is theirs now. So we'll see where that leads us. Now, we did see, of course, Santino making his way to do a promo, talk to Tommy Dreamer after what happened when he was attacked by Mance Warner. And Steph the Landers, with her usual ways, well, let's just say, they tried to make a point until Jake Something decided to step up and deal with Mance Warner. So we will see that type of feud taking place. Now, Indy Hartwell decided to pay a little visit to Tessa Blanchard to explain what the hell happened last week. Now, there was a thing that I alluded where, of course, Tasha kind of sucker punched Indy Hartwell, and just like that, it got into each other's faces, you know, because Indy thought that she had her back, but of course, as you know, Tessa has changed her ways, you know, acting like that she has to reclaim what is rightfully hers, that sort of thing. So we might see a feud between those two down the road. Our next match, we have the System, JDC and Eddie Edwards taking on Matt Cardona and a mystery partner, and the mystery partner turned out to be Hometown Man, and of course, no one expected this whatsoever. I think many people might have thought the System would find a way to get it out of it, but nope. Hometown Man was able to pick up the win by rolling up on Eddie Edwards, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, to pick up the win. But however, when it comes to the System being a bunch of losers, they decided to take matters in their own hands. So they wiped both Cardona and Hometown Man up. So just like that, I'm sure Matt Cardona will get his revenge on them. But the one thing that's interesting, Brian Myers refuses to put his hands on Cardona. So don't know what that means, but we'll see what happens. Our next match is our main event, the Champions Challenge. Representing, of course, the challengers, we have, of course, the Rascals, Zachary Wentz, Trey Miguel, along with Leon Slater, and Elijah and Joe Hendry taking on Steve Macklin, our current TNA International Champion, the Mennett brothers, Nick and Ryan Mennett, the current TNA World Tag Team Champions, Moose, our current TNA X Division Champion, and finally, Trick Williams from NXT, our current TNA World Champion. So many people would question how this was going to go. However, of course, Frank Kazarian was watching this, trying to stay closer because, as you know, he still aims for the TNA World title. But this match turned a very interesting dynamic. It appears that there was been no communications coming from Macklin, of course. Basically, he got taken out of the ring, and then, of course, it was Elijah who took out Ryan Mennett with the Stairway Farewell, which is like a power driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, they picked up the win. So we'll see what happens next week. I'm looking forward to that. But as of right now, we are officially done with TNA. Let's move on with Ring of Honor. Alright, last review, Ring of Honor. We opened up with the members of Shane Taylor's promotion, the current ROH Pure Wrestling Champion, Lee Moriarty, and Shane Taylor. They take on Anthony Gagoon and Saul Mistrita, if I pronounced that right. But many of you probably would guess how this match would end. Well, of course, we did see Lee Moriarty was getting enough timing, putting Anthony Gagoon in a Border City stretch, giving time for, of course, Shane Taylor to apply the kill shot when he gave that strong fist up to, of course, Sal in the face. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, we did have a women's pure wrestling match. We have the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo taking on Marty Bell. Now, of course, many people, including the commentators, are saying that Deonna Purrazzo most likely be the heavy favorite to win the first inaugural ROH Women's Pure Wrestling Championship. So if you guys believe that, leave a comment down below if you believe that. If not, leave a comment who you think would win it. So we'll go from there. But however, of course, we definitely were going to see some technical aspects coming from Deonna when she applied the Venus Milo as soon as she already did the Fujiwara armbar. And just like that, Marty Bell had no choice but to call it quits. Now, last week we did see, of course, the return of John Silver. As you know, the Dark Order still has some unfinished business, more specifically with the traitor known as Preston Vance. Well, this time, of course, the frat house are not happy with the fact that, of course, we're seeing, what's their name? John Silver making his appearance. So, soon enough, they will actually deal with him. Our next match, we have Aaron Solo taking on Everybody Dies, Lance Archer. Now, I don't need to tell you what really happened, but I can tell you that Aaron Solo, I think he tried to play the smart game, tried to attack Lance Archer head on, but it was not enough until Lance Archer blackout, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have the Pink Striker, Miyu Yamashita, making her presence, taking on Brooke Havoc. Now, of course, you all know how this probably would end with Miyu winning the match, but how does she do it? Well, she applied the infamous skull kick, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Now, as you know, that idiot and weasel Mark Sterling tried to play, of course, attorney. Well, let's just say that he said that all the records of the premier athletes are no longer, how do I say, on record, saying that all their losses wiped. Come on, Smart Sterling. I remember you lost all of them. You can say you didn't, but sooner or later, someone is going to crack his head, but we'll see. Now, our main event is an interesting mixture of, in the main event, we have the grizzled young vets, James Drake and Zach Gibson. They team up with the infantry. The captain, Sean Dean and Carly Bravo, taking on Top Flight, Dante Darius Martin. They team up with the Kingdom, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven. But it's interesting to see Top Flight and the Kingdom team up because in the past we have seen those two guys go head to head, and now they're teaming up. And not to mention, they are dressed up in the same color scheme, black and purple. And I don't know what that meant, but it sounds pretty cool. But in the end of this match, it was Dante Martin who picked up the win onto the Dean, Sean Dean, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. So that's how the entire thing took place in Ring of Honor. We'll see what happens next week. Now, I'm sure next week we will see the Global Wars for that because, as you know, they were in Mexico at the Arena Mexico for, of course, the Grand Slam. So I can't wait to see that next week. So stay tuned for that. But as of right now, we are officially done with reviews. Let's move on to our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So as always, let's begin with upcoming events. We have about 3 of them that's been now up that we're updating for all of you. As you know, we have the Spark Joshi Puroresu of America in Ignite, Texas on the 29th of June. They announced the Spark Joshi Pacific Championship will be defended. For Vixen, who won this belt recently back in April, will defend her belt in a 3-way match. We have, of course, not only herself, we have the Pink Striker Miyu Yamashita, and of course Arika Demia. So basically, we'll see how that goes from there. Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling with their Resurrection event on the 5th of July in Montreal. They announced that the Maple Leaf Canadian Championship will be defended. The Walking Weapon, the current champion Josh Alexander, defends his belt against the inevitable one, Ace Austin. And then finally, we have the GCW event, the Top Play. They'll take place at Hartford, Connecticut on the 5th of July. They announce Effie and One Call Manders. They take on, of course, the root of all evil, Charles Mason and Slade. Now, on to some developments. As you all know, Brody King was at Arena Mexico with AEW in that amazing 14-man tag team match. If you guys noticed, apparently someone reported that Brody King was wearing a shirt that says "Abolish ICE." If you guys know about the situation that's going on in this country, that's what he was wearing. I know some people are going to say, why the hell did he wear it? Don't ask me why. I'm sure he had his own reasons, but that's pretty much what happened. Now, Ian Riccaboni spoke with Fightful Select, talks about how he loves AEW's inclusiveness, says that he never been more confident that he picked the right team to play for. So basically, he feels more happier now than he's ever been. I mean, we have seen him. He has done play-by-play for Ring of Honor. Now he's doing AEW. So that's pretty cool. Now, many of you know this. In a much recent update, I believe that I put on the last episode, it was reported that Gail Kim was at the backstage in NXT this past Tuesday. Fightful Select made a report about that, basically. So let me pull that up real quick so we can get that, what they said. Here it is. Alright, so according to what they're saying, this is from Fightful Select, that Gail Kim was backstage at this week's NXT, and it wasn't the first time she's been there of late. So it looks like she's been there multiple times. It's been said that WWE hasn't been interested in bringing her on board since she became available. Now, if you guys remember, she was released from TNA. She was one of the official producers, mostly with the Knockouts division. And they conclude with this, that when we ask if she's officially with the company, WWE sources said that she isn't at this moment. The company has kept her presence on the show very quiet. So basically, no one's been aware that she's been appearing in NXT recently. It's still unclear whether she'll take a job with NXT. We haven't heard anything yet. So basically, no decision has been made. Now, we don't know for sure if AEW also has an interest in her, but only we could tell. Now, recently, as you know, Hook, who's been out for a while, kind of explained why he got the name Hook. Basically, this is what he said. MJF was involved in my inception of becoming a pro wrestler. MJF was right there. He was with me the first day I got in the ring. He helped me fine tune ideas that I had. And it was all us together that was spitballing different ideas for a name. I love every connection that comes with the name Hook. Like it's homage to my father with the Red Hook section of Brooklyn. Also, the old school term to hook and stretch. Hook somebody up and want to do something once the word. That was short, punchy, quick, and boom. I like that. And I like the way the letters look like next to each other. The H OOQ, because they're almost symmetrical, but the K is kind of like F up H, you know. So yeah, that's what he says, and it's just like the way the letters look at each other, the punchness of it as well, the different connections it just meant to be. So yeah, so it seems that MJF was partially responsible for getting the name, so it's pretty cool to hear that. But it's interesting to hear how he got the name, so it would make sense how he got it. So that's pretty much it. Now, there is still more developments on Hook. I haven't got the chance to look into it. I'll go into that maybe on the next episode or so, but as of right now, let's just call it a day. Alright, so I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do, since normally I don't review SmackDown that often at all, or at all, you know. But I am considering possibly reviewing the much recent Evolution event. As you probably know, that they just started a tournament to crown the first ever Evolution Strong Women's Champion. So I might do that, try to catch up with other events that I missed out. But we'll see how things will progress from there. But as of right now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.